In the Sniper Elite games, even the best laid plans can turn to shambles in an instant. 1 second, you've got it made. No enemies alerted. You're in perfect stealth, and you have a clear shot at the objective. A fraction of a second later, one slip up leads to all hell breaking loose, and now you have a battalion of Nazis breathing down your neck. Hey, it's okay. We've all been there. In fact, we've been there so often that we put together this list of 5 mistakes we're pretty sure all Sniper Elite players have made at some point. We hope you learned something, but we also hope you have some fun at our expense. Let's get started. Forgetting to use traps. We get it. Traps can be easy to forget about when you're focused on having enough guns and ammo for any situation you might stumble into, but it's also a critical mistake. Across the Sniper Elite series, Carl has access to different types of mines that can be incredibly handy. If you're concerned about an enemy sneaking up on you from behind, covering your flank with a well-placed trap is an excellent idea. It will also really piss off invaders if you're playing Sniper Elite 5, which is always fun. There's also the game-changing and sometimes overlooked tactic of booby trapping enemy corpses. The obvious idea here is that when another enemy comes up to check on their fallen comrade, they activate the trap and are greeted with a face full of shrapnel. However, booby traps can be utilized for more, let's say, direct means as well. Well, if you strap a grenade to a corpse and drop it off a ledge, it will follow Newton's law of gravity, and that puppy will go straight down. Even better, it'll detonate on impact, so there's not much room for error. Engaging groups of enemies. Okay, so you have a clear shot on a target, but they just so happen to be surrounded or in close proximity to other enemies. The right thing to do would be to take a step back, breathe, think about another course of action. But sometimes you just can't wait for that kill cam, even if it means alerting an entire map. What do you mean his head exploded out of nowhere? If you just want to get off one awesome shot before turning into Rambo, then we suppose taking that shot is fine. However, if you want to maintain some kind of stealth for the rest of the mission, the smarter thing to do is to wait for enemies to either isolate themselves on their patrols or lure them away from larger groups and take them out one by one. Look, either tactic is viable as long as you have the skills to back them up, but there's something about taking out an entire group of enemies unnoticed that's just so, chef's kiss. Botched takedowns. Committing to a melee takedown requires more than a little bit of bravery. Sure, corner takedowns and even ledge takedowns in later Sniper Elite games make it easy for enemies to walk straight into the danger zone, but sneaking up on them yourself is a different ballgame. There have been times when we didn't fully commit to a takedown because we were too far away from the target, and by the time we made up our mind and started to approach, they turned around and saw us. You know what happens next. They yell, others are alerted, and then poor Carl has to go on the run to save his skin. There's really nothing worse than a botched takedown. Now, if you want to learn from our mistakes and you want to avoid this unfortunate situation, the key is to either make up your mind early and commit to the takedown, or hang back and observe the enemy's patrol pattern so you know exactly when they're going to turn around. We recommend the slow and steady approach, but not wasting time on uncertainty can be just as effective. To sum it all up, let's use the age-old saying, shit or get off the pot. Rushing through missions. In order to become a Sniper Elite, you need to have one thing: patience. Well, we suppose you need some kind of rifle as well, but patience is just as important. Trying to rush through missions and maps that you don't have a thorough understanding of can lead to a bunch of small mistakes that begin to snowball before too long. Even if you go in with all the confidence in the world and enough ammo to put down an entire army all by yourself, Carl is still just one man. It's easy to get overwhelmed, and nobody likes a game over screen. That's why it's important to take things slow the first few runs through any mission. Get to know the ins and outs, enemy placements, and patrols that are likely to land you in hot water. And once you've figured all that out, you'll probably find a route that makes speedrunning the mission much easier, and then you can race through it. Just don't get cocky, kid. Just don't get cocky. Shooting for perfection. Okay, so you think you've covered all of the mistakes you could possibly make, but then you go into a mission, alert an enemy, and restart the entire mission because you slipped up. You're shooting for perfection, so you force yourself to start from the beginning every time you screw up. We suppose you'll get there eventually through this tactic. I mean, it worked for Tom Cruise in The Edge of Tomorrow, but it can't be a very fun way to experience any Sniper Elite game. The much better way of learning from your mistakes is to deal with the consequences consequences of them as they come up in each mission. Nobody's perfect right off the bat, but you can absolutely perfect a level if you put in enough effort. Just don't let the pursuit of perfection ruin your enjoyment of the game itself. Let your mistakes guide you and then surprise yourself with how you handle them. That is a true Sniper Elite experience. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. What mistakes did you make when you first started playing Sniper Elite? Let us know down in the comments. Till next time, stay sharp, shooters.